No, wait.
Too late, I already hit the button.
Did you?
Yep. Sorry, it takes 30 seconds, but...
I was gonna wash my tray. Now, I'm not. So, can they see my tray and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, we're above, too.
2 angles, just like last week.
Okay.
And we are live, so people are watching, or maybe watching, but...
So, do I start talking now?
Sure, if you'd like, or if you want to give them
another minute or
another
two?
minute or so to... while I share this on your personal.
Me.
There, that's all I needed. So, alright, yay, week 2, yay!
We're back?
Well, we're on. Yeah.
We're on. We're still on.
We are still on. So, if you would like to address the fine audience at home, because this will get replayed on YouTube at some point.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Keith's here. Yes, I am. Keith is here. Mark is behind the camera. And we're starting the second in a series of me painting a old stone barn. We're just going to keep filming me till I'm done. So,
months. It'll be months before you
months, because I am slow. So, welcome. If you have any questions, please ask. Somebody will actually help me. Actually, Mark will help me answer questions, because God knows I can't paint and look at the internet at the same time. So, I'm going to begin.
Well, real quick before we get started.
Alrighty.
I'm going to switch angles. Why don't you just kind of mention what you've done in part 1 already, what we've touched on.
Okay.
Everything needs to shift that way to the left a little bit.
Alright. Including me?
Including you.
How's that? Better?
Better.
Awesome. More?
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and just, kind of touch on what we've done so far. They can see the angle right now with the painting. So
okay. So, I decided to do an old stone barn. It's a Swiss. I got it from a Swiss photograph, and but I've changed it so much that it doesn't really match the barn anymore. I've added stone walls and large chunks of granite kind of sticking out of the ground also. We've also applied color to the sky. And today I'm going to be working on the rock walls, the slate roof. Yeah, there we go. And then a little bit more of the background trees, at least getting the color in. So, to begin with, I had a request from a couple people in Saline, where I'm at, that they asked that Mark also speak louder too.
I will not.
Nah, come on, seriously. So people will actually think I am talking to someone. So yeah,
no
they were.
One here.
Yeah, you should have a mic on you. Actually,
this one picks up both of us.
I know, but I'm just telling you what they said.
I'm just telling.
Yeah. Anyway, they are interested in your end of the conversation.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
If Wizard of Oz taught me anything.
Yeah, well, it's not working. All right, so I'm going to start with the slate roof. God. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of indigo, and I'm going to probably stick with a little bit of indigo. So I kind of want it bluish, kind of a bluish color. Yeah, let's start with that. So,
why not?
As usual, I am going to wet the paper first. People have asked me to slow down when I'm spinning things so that they quit falling off their chairs. So I will try to be a little slower. So these are, slate roofs. Kind of a thin stone. So I'm going to do this side first. Now all I'm going to do is put the color in. I'm not going to do any detail yet. I'm just getting a base coat on.
Base.
And watercolors, you build from light to dark. So basically I've started with, this will be the lightest, probably the lightest value on the roof, is this coat I'm putting on now.
So I just thought of something for a future painting,
Okay.
and I know it would be one of your favorite subjects of all time.
Is it a dead grass festival? Or?
Well, no, I was thinking with all the excitement over the eclipse today, that you could watercolor paint an eclipse in the near future.
Let me think.
No.
Well, it would be as a black circle with some yellow around it, right?
But it'd be the coolest black circle.
Yeah. But we're not, I'm sorry, we're not seeing a total eclipse here in Michigan. However, after this, we are going out to watch whatever we can of it. I, on the other hand, have seen a total eclipse.
Braggart.
I know, it was so cool. But it was amazing. It was, I lived in Hawaii for 10 years, and I'll tell you what, it was one of 3 most amazing celestial events that I saw when I was over there. One was the total eclipse, one was the two different comets in the sky at the same time. One was Haley-Bopp, and the other one was started with a K. Long name. Anyway, it was very amazing. And then the third was watched a meteorite come down right over our heads. Didn't see it land, but it was one of the most amazing things. I really enjoyed getting the heck scared out of us. So we were out camping on the beach. My buddy, he wake up the next day, he's sitting there and say, "Hear anything about the meteorite?" And he goes, "Yeah, it hit Hilo." And I'm like, "Oh my God," and he's like, "No, shut up, you're stupid." So yeah, he got me.
Oh, good friends.
Yeah, friends. He's gone now.
I killed him.
Yes, did.
Didn't say that out loud.
Yeah, I'm no longer in that state. So now I'm coming along behind the building. I'm adding a little color to the stone wall. I added just a bit of burnt sienna to the indigo I had on the paper there, or on the tray rather, and now I'm just going to put a little base coat of color on the rock walls. Now, one of the things I did notice when I came back to look at it, see, I haven't seen this in a week. Mark makes me put it away and not play with it.
Yep. If it's not on camera, you can't do it.
Exactly. So, one of the things I did notice was I really had hoped that the one side would be darker than there's 2 sides of the building showing exposed. I was kind of hoping that the one side would be lighter than the other. And for some reason, the color all blended together, and I ended up with something that looks pretty much the same value. So I am going to go in and darken up one side, just so I can get a little better. It'll just pop out a little bit better.
40% lighter. That's what you always tell me.
Yeah, I know, but for some reason I just did not get that one side to be a little lighter than the other side. So what I'm going to do is, rather than add more gray, I'm probably going to use a little bit of violet to the one side to create the shadow, just so it isn't like, oh boy, more gray. Master of gray.
Gray.
Gray. Let's see, dead grass, gray.
Excuse me, sir, do you have any gray?
Yeah, Grey Poupon. But do this. Alright, so I've got two or three things going right now, drying as we speak. And I'm going to try a little bit of violet with my indigo. Okay, that kind of... Let's try a little more violet with my indigo. There we go. So I like the butcher tray. I like the hair. I can't get it. Ah. We're going to... Ah, got it. It's gray.
Not mine.
Yeah. Mark has no hair. He keeps it very short. So, yeah, pretty much guaranteed it's mine. So, I've decided I'm going to make the door side of this building the lighter side, and I'm going to have the I'm going to apply a little bit of water. I'm going to try really hard not to hit the stuff that I am drying as we speak, the walls, the roof, etc. Alright, so I'm adding a little bit of water. And I'm actually not sopping it wet. I'm just kind of adding the water, and then I'm going to add more water to my paint so that I can not have quite a very even there we go. So it's not going to go on very even because I want everything to be just slightly... Wow, that was lucky.
Those are my favorites.
I love dropping my brush. I'm good at dropping ink pens into the... It doesn't matter if it has a face, that's where the pen lands. Usually makes a big blurb, and I'm adding, what do you call them? What are those little
freckles or
dots?
moles?
Well, moles, is that what they call them?
I don't know.
On your face?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I guess they are. I guess they're moles. Sorry, I swung that around pretty quick. Everybody's going, oh! So as you can see, just that little bit of violet really changes the value on this one side. It's not just violet, I'm sorry. It is also the indigo. But it's a very purpley gray rather than plain old. Alright, I like that. So I'm going to let that kind of set up. And, what am I doing while I'm waiting for things? I know. Since everything's kind of wet all up and down. Oh, look at this. I did hit the, this is called a bloom right here.
No!
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Oh.
So, when I accidentally touched what was damp, this is a good example. When something is drying, and you touch more water or more paint into it, what happens is it actually picks up the paint and pushes it. So this is called a bloom. Now, blooms are sometimes bad, like right here it isn't a good thing, but I use blooms a lot to make clouds and lots of fluffy and pretty things. So, in the meantime...
Like bunnies?
Bunnies. And, but as you can see, what I'm doing now is I'm just going to kind of pull this stuff in the direction of the tiles. So, you can correct a bloom if you are paying attention. Once it dries, then you gotta really play with it again.
You just de-bloomed the roof.
I'm trying. Interesting. But I think this'll work. So there is so much line work in the roof by the time I'm finished. I'm not worried that I did this, because as you will see, it'll actually work out fine. I think what is interesting is there are a couple little spots that are, sometimes the paper has little, I don't know, flaws, possibly. And what you do is you got to work around them.
Did you literally just blame your mistake on the paper?
I've been watching. I've been watching Trump.
You can't trick me.
Yeah, no, I've been watching the president. I've figured out how to do it now. You just got to blame everybody else. Well, that's not nice. Now it's getting political. And that's the end of it. Nice
And
stuff.
we've lost all our viewers.
Yeah, they're all. Wow, that's wild. What a coincidence. Anyway, it wasn't a mistake. So, I'm actually putting a little bit of a shadow on the sides over here. Got a little weird thing going over here. So I made the wall different here. So I got to figure out where the shadow is. I think it's right here. Just because I made it a little bit different. Alright, cool. Actually, very cool. Alright, now, so while things dry again, hopefully, I'm going to come over to this rock, and I want to put some facets into it. You know, rock is, you know, not everything's super smooth. Some of it is. Some of them rocks, the granites, you know, the weather, it's been so weathered that it's almost smooth. But we're going to get a little more texture into these guys. So, again, I'm going back to my favorite combo of burnt sienna and indigo. And I'm not going to wet this. I'm going to kind of dry brush this on, and then I'm going to kind of soften my line work. So as you can see, I kind of crack it, add a little value. But what I'm going to do next is kind of gently soften some of the cracks. And I want a little more reddish brown to my, I think I got a little too much indigo going, but I think there we go. So as you can see, it was a little moist, and what's happened is now when I draw lines, they kind of smear a little bit, and that's that can be dirt, that can be color of the rock. Well, what is it? Is it dirt or color to the rock? Alright. Boy, must have dropped a really big glob in there. It is. I knew there was a different color in there. So again, I'm just kind of going in, hitting where it's kind of wet, but I don't want to get it all. I want some of that color that's already there to shine through too. Very good. Did you hear me? I was complimenting myself.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, we all.
You'll be sorry.
I do it in my classes too.
Compliment yourself?
Yes. And that's how I convince my students that I know what I'm doing. So the fun part with this is while it's damp, you go in and you kind of accent some of the areas with just a little more value. You can put lines in, but they will kind of like quietly bleed away. The lighter stuff, I like to see it as lichens on the rocks, and I will give it a little bit of texture later on. For right now, I'm just kind of working on the rock.
I'm gonna have to get some crazy animations or something, I think.
For
just to liven up the stream a little bit. What
are you saying? You're not very interesting, Keith. I'm sorry.
Well, I know. It's just watercolors is by its nature move a little slower than.
Yes. So.
Or maybe I need some melodic music, something in the background.
Ah, okay.
I could hum a few bars.
So they can't hear me?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
He's learning all my tricks.
So, I guess nobody likes me, right?
I'm going to turn you into the edgiest watercolor painter ever.
Oh, no.
Yeah, death metal.
Yeah. The water's coming down.
Blooms, blooms.
That'd be great. All blooms all the time. All right. So again, I've kind of broken this up, but you can only do so much, and then you got to stop and let the paint set. You got to let it dry so that you can go back in and keep doing more and more and more. If you keep painting and keep painting, it just it does it just gets more washed, more blended, more all the same, so what I'm trying to do right now is I've added a little bit of ultramarine blue just to kind of break up the color a little bit. But like I said, I'm going to have to let that set up. I'll let that one dry. And then I'll go back in and I'll keep playing. So, we did have one gentleman contact me and asked if we could see the original photograph that I worked from. And the trouble with that is the original photograph doesn't look anything like this. But, yeah, I mean, other than probably the building a little bit, even that I've changed. It isn't the same picture anymore. So what it does is I've got nothing really to go by other than I looked at 2 or 3 different images to kind of put this together, to cobble it together to what I want it to be. And even that, of all the 3 of them, they're all different. I've changed everything. So on occasions, when I've got the actual photograph, I'm doing a waterfall right now for a future future painting series. It's in Portland. It's very well known. In fact, it's in a TV commercial right now. That one I will bring the picture and I will show. But like I said, a lot of times this is kind of made up with whole cloth. Chunks and bits and pieces of it are actually real, but not all of it.
Okay, now even with the ones with the photographs though, you're not looking to make a photorealistic reproduction of the photo. You're still taking artistic license and
Right.
tweaking things as you see fit too. So,
Right. I don't want to paint a photo. I want to paint a watercolor. So yeah, there are changes. But when you're doing something that's very recognizable, you definitely want to kind of keep it that way. So people can go, oh yeah, that's the Mucky Muck waterfall in Portland. I can't remember what it was, but it was a strange enough name that I honestly could not tell you how it's pronounced. So I got to call a friend of mine in Portland and find out what it is. So I'm not a total hack. All right. So I've kind of worked on that one. I'm coming over to this other chunk over here. Now I lived in Marble Falls, Texas for a little while, and oh my God, they had the prettiest pink granite just popping out all over the ground. All these wonderful old live oaks. I think they're southern oaks. I'm not sure which. Anyway, big. I mean, they're not big. They're very short trees, but the limbs just go forever. They just keep going out and out and out. They're absolutely amazing. So kind of a low tree, but a very long tree. And that's kind of where I picked up doing rock and trees, was in Texas at that time. And I loved how the granite just popped out of everywhere. It was the most amazing place to live. I really enjoyed it. In fact, it's been so long I've been thinking about heading back just to see it again. But I'm afraid I'd like it and stay. And then Mr. Hicks would have to come a long way. Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah. No offense, but I have no interest in going to Texas.
Well, this chunk I think you would like. It's that beautiful. Rivers, cliffs that you can kind of jump off of into deep water. It was just really a nice place. Hope it's still nice, too. I go back to Florida and cry. So, I went to high school in Florida. Yeah, we moved around a lot. But,
no place liked you long enough to keep you.
Yeah, I gotta keep moving. It's a damn...
I've seen movies like that.
Yeah, it's
time to move on.
What's that called?
Hobo?
Yeah, no. Criminal, yeah.
I like Hobo better.
Yeah, probably. Book 'em, Dano. Anyway, so, as you can see, I kind of broken this one up. We got a little bit back here. And now, I think I can start working on the actual rock walls themselves.
Yay!
Yeah, I know you've been waiting. And this is, nope, not quite. Almost.
Boo.
Yeah, not quite. But we can start on the rock walls. So, I have drawn my rocks in. They're pretty light lines because, although it wouldn't really matter because they'd be the cracks anyway. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out a little bit of sepia, which is a brownish black. In fact, it's made of Van Dyke brown, I think, and black. Okay, and all right. So I got a little up there. I'm also going to pull out a little bit of the burnt sienna again, so we can. Okay, so what kind of tip do I have here? I might grab a different brush. This thing usually has a nice tip to it, we'll see. And it holds a lot of water, so I can, or a lot of paint. So I might be able to go quite a while without, what do you call it? dipping, refilling my brush.
Refills.
Although, for some reason, there we go. Wow. It's being difficult.
The brush?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know why.
I blame it on user error.
Probably. So, we're getting to the point where now we're doing some fine line work, and I am going to take off my glasses and pretend I can see. So I'm fine nearsighted. Just don't drive with me in a car if I don't have my glasses. So basically what I'm doing is just breaking up the rocks a little bit. For some reason this brush is not cooperating today, and I love this brush, but I don't know if it's humidity or I didn't put it away properly, but the tip's being a little odd. I hate to admit it, but I don't think it's the brush's fault. So, or maybe I just got to get enough liquid in it to make it function properly. So when you're doing rock walls, you got to make them look like they are kind of following vertically along, not vertically, horizontally along the ground, but you don't want them to all be like bricks. So, rocks are going to extend up into different layers. And as you can see, I'm just kind of doing the outlines. If you'll notice, as I'm doing these outlines, I don't do the top. Okay? You can go all the way around the rock if it's lower in the wall. Then the other thing that I do is they're not square, So I like to put little triangles in the corners. Very small, but what it does is kind of rounds off the rock a little bit. Mr. Mark, do you think everybody's outside getting ready for the...
Probably.
I hate competing with celestial events.
That happen every 20 years or something?
Yeah.
I don't know, what is the numbers on that? I'd have to...
Well, I guess the last one for around near us was 1977, I think they said.
See, I remember I was talking to Andrea about this. I remember in elementary school there being something coming up. I assumed I'm assuming now it was a solar eclipse of some degree because it was a big hoopla. We had to make boxes to look at them, backwards through the pinholes.
What grade were you in 77?
I wasn't born in 77.
Oh, shut up.
So that's where I'm like, there was something after that, something in the 80s.
Well, yeah, there's oftentimes there's solar eclipses. The biggest problem is that they're not total.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I was young, there was at least 3 or 4 of them before 77.
Yeah.
You weren't born in 70s? I hate you. I don't even want to talk to you anymore. I'm not talking to Mr. Hicks anymore. Yeah.
Oh, hurt my feelings.
Yep.
Boo-hoo.
No, I am,
Don't blame me.
Yeah.
I had no control over that.
I have so much fun. I teach drawing to teenagers and little kids. And the thing I've noticed the most is some of my terminology going, well, they just look at you, what?
Say, huh?
And go ahead and mention Gilligan's Island and see if they even...
Yeah.
Some of them know only because they still rerun the darn things.
Of course they do. Those guys had no idea what a syndication contract would look like. It's the only reason we still see all those shows. It's not that they were great. It was that the actors had no claim to anything that was reran over and over and over again.
Yep, Mr. Howell guy that played Mr. Howell, Jim Backus, I guess.
Yeah.
He probably could have been a billionaire.
Well, no, they wouldn't have shown those shows. I mean, it just would have been the end of it.
Oh, that's true. I see what you're saying.
You know, and then that's why
the new one's coming up. All the actors are dead now.
Well, that or what you run into is things like the Adam West Batman series, right? They could replay them 1 billion times on every, second-rate TV station forever, but for whatever reason they never signed, or lawyers in that were smart enough to go, well, no, DVD distribution is different. Streaming services like Netflix are different, and that's when all these actors went, oh, all that free money you guys made by selling it to Channel 38 and, local broadcast? No, we want to get paid now.
Yes.
And why it took 20-some years for them to be able to make a DVD box set of 60s Batman, because you had to get everybody involved's consent, and they wanted their all piece of their royalty.
Makes you wonder. God knows they would have never suspected this would ever happen.
Yep.
I mean, that makes sense.
And like I said, for all those years, who made money? The original, whoever owned the rights to the original, whether it was a TV producer company or, Fox or whoever was making the show.
It's probably Michael Jackson.
Yeah. They just sit back and collect the paychecks because, you want to run it on Podunk? Yeah, we can license that to you.
Podunk TV.
And think of all the well-known actors that, so it makes that kind of stuff hard now. They gotta plan it for...
Well, it's totally different now.
Mm-hmm.
I think, now, I've just kind of done my outlines around the rocks. What I like to do is I will take some water, a little bit of color, not a lot though, and I'm going to just kind of, I don't want too hard of lines. So what I do is I like to kind of smear it a little bit. And I'm not hitting everywhere.
It's kind of hard to see.
Is it?
Yeah.
Am I in the wrong place again?
I'm gonna go freehand for a second here.
Okay.
And see if I can help this out a little bit without unplugging everything I've done.
Just to help you, the viewer. Can you see?
That's probably better than the top down was.
Okay.
I just don't have enough cord to get much closer.
So I don't know if you can see. Now I'm coming in and I'm just kind of, I don't want all the rocks to be the same color. B, I'd like some of the rocks to be at least kind of some of the granite color. And then again, I'm also trying very hard to not make it all just one value. So I'm kind of breaking up the values too. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grab just a little bit of that purple to kind of just to get a little more color in here. that help?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that's... Okay, so again, a little bit of just water. All I'm doing is softening. And I think I'll let that set for now, okay? I'm actually going to go back in and I'm going to add even darker lines, just a little, make some of the little cracks just a little bit darker here and there, not everywhere. Alright, so that's that. I'm going to stop there. This is pretty much dry, this is pretty much dry. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to start working on this. So if you can step back again. People are like, whoa!
Hey, you thought this paper spinning was bad?
Yeah.
When the whole camera
the camera, yeah.
Don't look there, it's a secret.
So, again, I am going to take a bunch of the sepia, which is the brownish black color, and indigo. I'm going to kind of mix those two together. I've got me a powerful dark mud going. Awesome. Alright, so I am not all that concerned about every little line being perfect, okay? Shale roofs, they tended to kind of slide and move a little bit. The pieces were not exactly the same fit, so they're just taking this thin, rock and putting it on the roof and kind of stacking. So no, it's not like a piece of asphalt roofing. So it gives it a lot of character though. So I'm going to start by putting a very fine dark line. Ooh, I like this brush. Once it gets going, boy, I can do stuff.
You just had to shake it a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm not worried if I get it absolutely perfect. In fact, I'm not worried at all about that. The trick is that we do have to make sure that the roof, because of the perspective, I got to make it start large at this end and get kind of thinner at that edge. So,
is there any tricks to that?
you could draw it out yourself. As a matter of fact, I did. I didn't sit there with a ruler or anything, but I did kind of just want to make sure that I'm, it starts out kind of long and curved at this end and not so curved at this end. So as we come down the edge, we just keep kind of squaring it off. And this is just the first, this dark. It's just the first. I'm going to be adding more and more and more. And I'm not going to do the bottom edge. Didn't do the top, didn't do the bottom edge. We're going to let the sky, trees, whatever, take care of the top of it. We're going to let the shadow on the building take care of the other part. So don't outline the top and the bottom. Alright, now, that's still damp. And so like what I did with the rocks, I'm just going to take a little bit of water here. I'm just going to run this across.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate. What if you put too much water and your lines blur together too much? What can you do?
Well, all you can do is let it dry and do it again. So that's about the easiest answer. But yeah, it happens, and it's not a big deal. I'm probably going to be adding other color to this. I'm going to be changing things. But what I want you to see is that there's little darker sections, there's little lighter sections. Don't make it all one value. Okay, so when you apply the water, don't apply it quite everywhere, or looser in one sections or wetter in one section, a little less wet in others. Okay, and that's what I did, and that's how I got this. I love that texture. And we're not even done yet. But I'm just kind of softening the hard lines. So you got to be quick about that too. You want to be done. You want to get the lines down, and then you want to get the water on, so that you don't end up with the lines being dry, and you have to more or less just kind of apply. You want the lines to be soft, so you want to be quick. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. All right.
Unlike this conversation, it just seems to keep going and going.
Really?
No.
What are you saying? Shut up? I wish you would for a little while. Couldn't we let the paint say everything?
Let the paint do the talking.
Yeah. So.
And what kind of paint is it, Keith?
Gosh golly, it's Schminke's pan paint. This is a set of, oh my god, I forgot. 3, 6, 9, 12. Set of 24 full pan. They have half pans too. So full pan.
I believe you can also purchase individual colors.
Yes, you can. Good luck. You have to, there are a couple companies that we can recommend, and we will, I think, because it really does start to matter. Because some of the bigger box companies, or not, online companies, do not carry, they'll carry the kits or the sets, but will not carry the individual colors. And we do have a couple places. I just offhand can't think of one right now.
Right now, because I haven't updated the description for this live stream, obviously, if you go to rkmcguire.com, and there is a supplies link, and under that link is a drop down for watercolor supplies, you will find, I think, 4 different places we have linked to buy Schminke paints from. I believe it's Amazon, Blix, Ulrich's, and I think Michael's. I'd have to double check.
Not sure on that one.
Yeah, it might not be. I thought there was 4. Maybe there is only 3. But regardless, anytime any of our videos you want to see what Keith's using, he pretty much uses the same basic materials because it's what he likes. The Schminke paints, the Arches 140 watercolor papers.
That's a must.
Yeah, sometimes 300 if it's something he knows is going to take a lot of texture. The Butcher tray, the Lowell Cornell brushes seem to be a standard. Occasionally something different will pop in there. We'll make sure that we mention if it's something out of the norm. But right now the safest place is hit Keith's website and hit that supplies link, and you can find referral links. We get small commission if you purchase something from our links. You don't pay any extra. We get a little thank you commission. And if not, feel free to use that list as a checklist at your local art supply center if you can find one. Haha.
Yeah. Slightly sad, but I have to admit, these stores online, paint supplies or art supplies have never been cheaper. So.
Yeah, we just had our local store go out of business. I think their official closing date was the 19th of August. And right up to the end, though, a lot of their prices weren't that cheap. You know, their 50 and 75% offs were still more expensive than I could purchase it at Amazon, for an example. So, I mean,
But
some of it's their own fault, I feel.
Well, I think that's not fair. A lot of these stores don't have the purchasing power of a massive,
True.
That's part of it, I think.
And I mean, there is something to be said about going into a physical art center and talking to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
That'll be something I will miss because, posting on a message board and hoping somebody gets back to me in a fairly reasonable amount of time isn't always that much fun. When I know George the painter works at,
And when a guy like me who just loves the internet.
I love you, internet.
Yeah, I'm just kind of a slow guy when it comes to, getting things done on the internet.
How slow are you?
Just let it go.
I thought that was the lead-in for the joke.
Yeah, no, just let it go. I mean, I'm all for the internet. I do appreciate it. But sometimes guys like me would like to go and talk to somebody,
Yep, no, I get that.
There are still opportunities around college towns.
Yep.
A lot of the college towns maintain a art supplies. We're near Ann Arbor. I believe there's still somebody, I think. They all coming and going. I hate to say it. But a lot of times, like down by Wayne State, or up by Wayne State, depends on where you live, they still have a couple nice art stores where you can get supplies and actually look at them and hold them in your hand, Kind of miss that. But, like I said, it has gotten a lot less expensive. And honestly, I did work in an art store for a little while, and when I saw the markup, I used to get angry. How can you do that to these people? It's not fair.
They were like, do you like being paid, Keith?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But in case you're wondering what I'm doing at this time, they have wooden beams across the, tops, across the tops of the roofs. God.
The windows.
The windows.
Doors.
Thank you. Windows, doors. See, you're not even watching. You know what the hell I'm talking about. All right. I don't know what he's doing over there, actually.
Multitasking.
Yeah, I think, what are you, like, winding up all your cords and stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying to reorganize a little bit.
Alright, so, at this point, there. Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, the other, like I said, it's an old barn. Most of the stuff has been, the windows have been knocked out. So they're just going to be dark little surfaces. But first I'm trying to get the sides of the windows in too, before I go ahead and put in very dark holes. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Maybe. Now, we're coming up on about 55 minutes.
Oh, really?
So, whatever the last few things you want to touch on, and then we'll probably call it a day.
Okay. One of the things I want to touch on is I don't have a paper towel.
Well, you're not attached to anything. You go grab one real quick.
I can. That's going to be embarrassing.
We'll be right back after these
watch this.
messages.
This is where you could come in and talk.
Yeah. So while you're over at Keith's website checking out the recommended supplies, feel free to check out his store and see some of the paintings Keith has available. Prints, ready to hang canvases. We've got some paper prints coming down the pipeline. Like I said, any little support is always appreciated.
A lot of support is appreciated.
Feel free to drop us an email or a question, whether it's on Facebook or on any of the social platforms that you can find him with any questions, and we'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Oh, look, he's back.
Yep, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I've had some really wonderful response from people. Thank you for actually giving us your opinions and your suggestions. And we are, you know, some of them we can do, some of them are, you know, it's our problem is sometimes tactical or what we have available as far as cameras and time, basically, to get these things up and running.
As we do more and more, they'll get progressively better, I hope.
Yeah.
So.
And we are writing them down, believe me. So we do know, you know, some of the suggestions we've received, like the can we see the original picture you're working from, and some other things like that. We really do appreciate it. So you know, keep talking to us. I'm trying to do this so you can learn. It's very important to me. I appreciate it. So we're wrapping this up.
Yeah, I think we're about done for today.
Okay. I think it's a good place to stop. Next week we're going to do definitely the trees in the background, a little bit more hill. We're going to break the rocks up a little more and a little more detail. Well, finish up the rock walls. Then we're going to really break up the building. So thank you, and we will see you next week.
Yep, do us a favor, share this video. It really helps us out. Tell your friends, and look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy the eclipse. Don't look directly at the sun.
I hate that. Bye.